U.S. authorities have ordered the grounding and inspection of 171 Boeing planes. The U.S. air giant is under heavy scrutiny over the safety of its popular 737 MAX 9 aircraft. The order comes after a fuselage panel blew out on an Alaska Airlines flight in midair, leaving a gaping hole in the side of the plane. It landed safely with no major injuries.
From inside the cabin, a passenger captures the moment just after the giant hole appears. The mood is relatively calm, but some of those on board are using oxygen masks to breathe.
This wasn't even the emergency door.
The lights go out as the Alaska Airlines flight tries to make an emergency landing. An audio recording captures a tense few minutes as crew members try to bring the plane, with more than 170 people on board, safely back down to earth.
Well, let's go down. Seattle, Alaska. 1282, we just did pressure. We're declaring emergency. We needed to send down to 10,000.
I didn't even know we took off, honestly. And then, yeah, I'm sleeping and I just feel the plane drop. And it wasn't like any other turbulence, just because the masks had came down too. So that's when I knew, like, oh gosh, this is something way different. And yeah, I started freaking out.
It's not yet known what caused parts of the plane's fuselage to fall off just after takeoff, but investigators say the situation could have been a lot worse had the aircraft reached its cruising altitude.
The aircraft was around 16,000 feet and only 10 minutes out from the airport when the door blew. Fortunately, they were not at cruise altitude of 30,000 or 35,000 feet. Think about what happens when you're in cruise. Everybody's up and walking. Folks don't have seatbelts on. They're going to restrooms. The flight attendants are providing service to passengers. We could have ended up with something so much more tragic.
The U.S. airline regulator has ordered the grounding and inspection of some Boeing 737 MAX 9 jets in the wake of the incident, affecting more than 170 aircraft worldwide.
And joining us now for insight on this is Stephen Wright, a professor of aircraft systems at Tampere University in Finland. Thank you for joining us. I just want to ask you, what did you first think when you heard news of this incident?
Well, I thought that the event sounded rather unusual. It's not often that you hear about holes appearing on aircraft. That said, this sort of event has happened before, and when it's happened previously, specifically to British Airways in 1990, it was because the wrong size bolts were used to hold a window in that wasn't a structural member of the aircraft. So this sort of stuff can happen, but it seems very unusual.
And this plane on which this occurred was brand new, only 10 weeks old. How could this have happened, do you think?
Well, it doesn't really make much sense to me. The plane's brand new, as you say. It's fresh out the factory. I understand it's been delivered, and then it hasn't been used very much by the operator. And it's only in this early phase that something has catastrophically happened to the aircraft. So the question that I'm asking myself is, because it's so new and it hasn't been through the airline's usual maintenance, this to me indicates something happening from the factory, something that hasn't been picked up. It's latent, it's hidden, and why would you go looking for it when you believe that it's perfectly fine?
And U.S. regulators have ordered the grounding of 170 of these planes. What do you think they will be looking for?
Well, from my understanding, I suspect they're going to require engineers, licensed aircraft engineers, to inspect these fastening plates. Effectively, they're covers covering this door option. And they're going to want to make sure that the correct fastenings are used, They're also going to want to make sure that the correct torque specification for these bolts has been applied, which is relatively straightforward to check. And the requirement is for this check to take place before the next flight. So until they actually do this check and then sign some paperwork and report back to Boeing that it's been done, these planes won't be taking off in America at this time.
And just a final, last quick question, if I may. These new Boeings, the 737 MAX 9 and I believe 8, have had a number of problems. The previous ones, engine failures. Is there something wrong with the way the Americans are allowing their planes to fly? I guess it's early days, but do you see some of that here, possibly?
I don't know about allowing it to fly. I think the problem here is that with the MAX series, Boeing made a corporate decision on some sensors which were necessary for this, as you say, this larger, much more powerful engine. And then they didn't tell anybody about how the sensors worked and, you know, when it goes wrong, what it should do. So pilots just weren't able to respond to it. Yeah, it's problematic.
Okay, Professor of Aviation Stephen Wright, thanks so much.
Thank you.